Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am here, you are here. We are here together. Is this a date? I'm kidding. Who would date me? Anyway. Oh, I can't. This is a first. Well, a first in a while. The candidate is here at the same time as the moderator and the host. And I am not set up. Hold on. I haven't done my vocal warm-up. If this world were mine, I'd give you the flowers, the birds and the bees, and with your love beside me, it would be all I need. If this world were mine, I'd give you anything, baby. Adding this to my story, as all of you should when you enter the room, add this to your story, repost it, send out your daily heart me. Don't you hate it when you follow a person for the first time and the first message you get from them is, hey, we're live with our vote counts. Too bad. People need to know about these races. These political races, rather. They need to know about these politics and these primaries and receive information about these candidates. If this world were mine, I'd make you a king with wealth untold. You would have anything if this world were mine. Yeah, I'd give you each day so sunny and blue. And if you wanted the moonlight, I'd give you that too. Alex Hazen. Paging Alex Hazen. Paging Alex Hazen. Or is it Hazen? Alex, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Is it Hazen or Hazen?
It's Hazen.
Okay.
There
All
we
right.
go.
Welcome, Mr. Alex Hazen, to the floor, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Hello, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Alex, I want to ask you, I don't know if this is your first time doing a TikTok live. You're fairly young, so you probably have done this before, right?
Actually, this is my first time doing a TikTok live. I actually did not have TikTok before the campaign. I refused to download it, and I lasted all the way until the campaign, and then I said I got to be on TikTok so that I can
What?
get the message out.
What
So,
in the millennial? Alex. Well, I'm going to have to explain a few things to you. First of all, I know you probably received this in our email. Oh, I can't. That's this light. I don't know. TikTok doesn't like certain words, certain
okay,
harsh, certain harsh language. You can swear. You can use a swear word, but
okay,
it doesn't like words that end in side, like CIDE. So no GENOCIDE, no
yep,
SUICIDE. No,
okay,
what's the other word? It doesn't like when you say the I country. the blue country across the sea.
Okay.
It doesn't like the word for this.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, there's some other things. Oh, the ABORTION word. It doesn't like that either.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
All
Also,
all the fun topics that I'm sure we'll talk about.
yes, we will. You just have to be creative in how you talk about them, right?
Okay. Yeah,
Pretend
I'll have
like you're
to.
talking to a little kid and you don't want the kid to be like, Mommy, Alex said, right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
also, do you know how to share the TikTok live with your followers?
Um, yeah, let me. I mean, it should be pretty similar to it, to other things. Is it just reposting it or oh, I can add to story. Here we go.
You
Is
can
that it?
repost it. You can add to your story. You can also send it to your followers. Do you see the list of names? If you click on those names and
Okay.
it says share, it'll say send separately, and it just lets each individual follower know about it. They'll also see if they are live people, they'll also see when you're live. But
Okay.
this lets them know immediately, right now, Alex is live right now.
And I have to do that individually, or is there a single button that?
I don't know if you want to group them together. I don't know. People don't like to be added to a group chat without their permission, so.
Ah, okay. Well, I'll share it to my story and I'll repost it, and I think that should be good enough. I don't want to spam too many people.
Oh no,
So
Alex, listen, you're running for Congress. Okay? Who cares? Spam them. This is important. My
it is
goodness.
important.
Are any of
So
them running for Congress?
they are. There's some that are running for
Okay,
Congress.
then.
So
They should be sympathetic.
eh,
When they get those text messages and those emails, hey, Alex needs $5, needs you to chip in. Act blue.
mm,
Mm-hmm. They should be used to it by now. Also, Alex, tap the screen and just, you know how to heart. Somebody said, what's behind your head?
oh yes, it's they're LED lights, and you can change the colors and
Is it a
have it.
number? Does it form a number or is it just a pattern, a random
It's just a
pattern?
pattern. It's a
Oh, that looks
nice
like
random
some kind
pattern.
of elements, like the periodic table of elements or something.
I
A
think they're called
hexagon.
elements. Yeah, they are hexagons. It was
Yeah.
it was awful to set up though. Oh my gosh. I because it connects with the wireless too, and it's just it was a time. I can
Well,
tell you
it's
that.
nice. It paid off. Very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, let's see what else. What else? I'm going to send a few gifts to the. I just want to get this live warmed up. I just want to get it warmed up so we can get some more
Okay.
people in here. People need to hear the message that you have, Alex, right? You want
I
people to
agree.
know about you and your race. You want more name recognition. Alex Hazen, Florida Congressional District 5 for the
Hmm.
Democrats.
Yes.
Alex, tell me how many other candidates are in your primary?
Right now there's four potential candidates for the Democratic side of the ticket for the primary. And so we're all trying to qualify for the ballot. We'll see if everyone, I assume everyone is actually going to qualify. At least I'm pretty sure three of the four will probably qualify
What do
is my
you
guess.
what do you have to do to qualify? You have to submit some blood samples or something?
Uh, I wish it was that easy. I've been giving blood every 8 weeks, and that would be easy. Um, no, you have to, in Florida, it's really difficult, actually. You have
Really?
to, a normal year, you have to submit 5,000 petition signatures from
Mhm.
only people in your district. So that's the non-paying way to get on the ticket. If you wanna, if you wanna get on the ticket paying wise, you have to pay $10,000.
Ooh.
So, however, and this is the only silver lining, I think, of the redistricting that Florida is trying to do, is that because it's a redistricting year, the requirement to get on the ballot for signatures gets lowered. It goes from 1% of the district to 0.5%, and it can be from anyone in Florida. So we, as candidates, the requirement is $10,000 or 2,500 valid signatures from anyone in Florida. So it makes it a lot easier, but it's still hard to get 2,500 valid signatures.
Yeah, the government gets to decide what's a valid signature, right?
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, and we're working on it. That's our big push right now, is to qualify by petition ballot, and we've got a lot, and we're over halfway. We're pretty significantly close to qualifying, but we want to go over the number to make sure that we can hit it properly. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be continuing to do.
I have an older sister and a cousin who live in Florida. I wish I knew where you were. I would send them to your house and make them sign your petition.
Well, so they can print it out on my website on alexhazen.com/vote. You can click the petition ballot.
TikTok has interactive gifts.
They love me.
Someone wanted you to look like Elvis. That's fine.
Hey, I'm all for it. Yeah, so you can go to my website, alexhazen.com/vote. There's petition ballots there as a PDF. You can print it, and we have a P.O. box, and people can fill it out and send it to us. So if you have any family in Florida, feel free to send them our way, and we'll send the petitions back out to the supervisor of elections to get them validated. So.
All right. And it's just so people know, when you sign a petition to get someone on the ballot, that's not you saying you're going to vote for the person. That's just you saying, yes, I want this person to be on the ballot to have a chance.
Yes, I tell a lot of people to sign it means that you want the option of me.
Yeah.
Not that you want me, but you want the option of me. And so if you want choice, we love good, democratic process, as many choices as possible. Then I've got actually a decent amount of Republicans and independents also signed for me on the petition ballot, because I think people love having choice and seeing a field of candidates and having more diversity in choices before the general. All
right. Everybody, welcome in. This is OVC TikTok Live Town Hall. We are tonight featuring the stylings of Mr. Alex Hazen, who is running for the Democrat primary for Florida's Congressional District 5, the U.S. House of Representatives. We just talked about him trying to get on the ballot. There's a lengthy process of getting people to say yes to the dress or money. There's always the option of money. If any of you have $10,000 lying around and you want to give it to Alex, he has a P.O. box if you go to his website. No pennies, please. We don't want your discarded pennies. Anyway, this is Our Vote Counts. I'm Ayana Fakir. I'm in Ohio, by the way. Our Vote Counts is a nonpartisan coalition of citizens from diverse states and backgrounds united by a shared commitment to empowering voters and promoting candidates who stand for integrity, inclusion, and accountability in the upcoming elections. Our Vote Counts is more than a name. It's a promise, a movement, and a rallying cry for democracy. Together, we are shaping the future, one informed vote at a time. Alex Hazen is a 29-year-old healthcare simulation software developer. That sounds like a very important job. Living in Jacksonville, Florida. He grew up during the rapid rise of technology, learning to use computers at an early age and staying immersed in the digital world throughout his youth. After college, he built a career working with virtual reality and artificial intelligence, AI, and healthcare simulation. His work has given him insight into both the benefits and risks of emerging technology, especially regarding privacy and its impact on younger generations. He frames his candidacy as part of a broader effort to bring younger leadership into government and rethink how the system works for future generations. Alex, I love it. Please tell us more about yourself and why you are running for office.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that opener, and it covered most of the good stuff.
We took it
But
from the website.
yeah, I'm Alex Hazen. I'm originally from Wilmington, Delaware. I went to Rochester Institute of Technology for video game design and development. So I have a bachelor's in science in that degree. So I know how to design, I know how to do coding, development. And after college, I got a job in Gainesville, Florida for doing simulation development, which is making video games, but for nursing students. So I make nursing simulations.
I've seen those. Those are amazing.
Yes, they're very fun. They're interesting. Ours is very focused more on actual students, and they're not as much. It's hard to access it if you're not taking a class. With
People put them on
nursing
TikTok.
classes.
They put them on TikTok.
Yes, they do put them on TikTok. I do know a little bit about that. There was some
Yeah.
controversy a couple of years ago about some of our stuff being on TikTok. So, but I moved to Gainesville, Florida, February of 2020, which was a perfect time to move anywhere. I had to move to Florida to be in person for the job. And then for those of you who know what happened in March 2020,
Don't say the word. Don't say the word. TikTok
I
doesn't
won't
like
say
it
the
when you say
word.
that word.
We no longer had to be in person after March of 2020.
Right, because of the big germ. We call it the big
Because
germ.
of the big germ, yes. And so I met my girlfriend out in Gainesville, Florida, and her family lives in Jacksonville, Florida. She's a fourth generation Jacksonvillian. So we moved back over here to be closer to some of her family, some of her friends. And so we've been in Jacksonville ever since. And so I've always been involved in politics in the way of like keeping up to date and advocating for, clean energy and environment related stuff, and, posting on Facebook and sharing different things. But for this election, I knew that there was the opportunity to flip a number of districts in Florida that are really important to flip.
Yours has been solidly red for a while.
Yes. So, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to jump in this race. This district is an R+11 district, which means Republicans usually win the district by 11 points. And the swing for Democrat special elections in this state have swung 17 points on average towards Democratic candidates. And I think that we have the opportunity to flip this district as long as we have a candidate that can excite people and represent something that people can identify with and be excited about. And I saw the other candidates who were running. I like them as people. I do. I wasn't excited as a constituent for those candidates. Not to say that they're not good candidates. They are good. They're good. But I wasn't excited. And so I didn't think that they could flip this district. And so I knew that someone who was different, someone who could bring something to the table that people wanted, someone young, someone who understands tech, someone who's advocating for bold policy, not just, let's take a little step here, a little step there. We need serious change. And people voted for Obama because they wanted change, and people voted for Trump because they wanted change. And that's what people still want. And we haven't changed that much. Well, I'd argue maybe with Trump, some things have changed drastically for a lot worse than what
Just a little
people
bit.
wanted. But I think that I truly believe that I'm the candidate to flip this district.
Okay. Well, I mean, you got to believe in yourself. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Let's see. John Rutherford, who is the Republican in the seat. The major counties in your district include partially Duval County and partially St. Johns County. Includes Jacksonville, St. Augustine. Racial demographics, a lot of white people.
Yep. Yeah.
About 11.6% Black, 12.1% Hispanic. Median household income, y'all got some money. Median age, mid to late 30s. Large working age population. Significant retiree population in the coastal areas. So, Alex, if your campaign, this is just a silly kind of icebreaker question. If your
Okay.
campaign had a mascot, you know, Florida's full of all of these teams, right? You got
Okay.
your
Yeah.
Gators, you got your Dolphins, you got your something else. Is it the Marlins?
Jaguars for Jacksonville.
Jaguar. Okay. If your campaign had a mascot in the line of the sports theme, what would it be? Be a buffalo, a cougar, and why?
Okay.
A frog, it could be a toad.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that's really I mean, Florida's known for gators.
Yeah.
Florida's known for, well,
Mickey Mouse.
Jacksonville's known for jaguars. I feel like if I didn't mention jaguars, I might be eliminated from the primary right there. Um, yeah, I mean, hmm,
You got Mickey Mouse, you got Donald Duck.
yeah. Well, we have a little league, or not little league, not a little league. We do have a baseball team here, which are the Shrimps. They're fun
Ah,
too. I don't know if I'd be a shrimp, but I'm short, but
what a
I
shrimp
don't
as
know if
a
I
mess.
should. Yeah, the
I
Shrimps are
mean,
great. I went
that's
to their
fun.
game last week, I think. So they were fun. They're called the Jumbo Shrimps, though.
Oh,
So
the jumbo
they're
shrimp.
not they're
Okay.
not small shrimps. They're the jumbo ones.
Well,
So
listen, I also had jumbo shrimp for dinner the other day, and when I cooked it, it turned into miniature shrimp. So,
okay.
but okay, we'll take
I,
that.
th- I think though, if I were to choose something, maybe something a little bit out of the box, maybe an armadillo, because I'm burrowing from beneath and coming out in front is
That's
the hope.
right. There you go, Alex.
So
See, get the creative juices flowing. That's right, Alex. Okay. Enough of that. Let's talk immigration, Alex.
okay,
Okay. Politicians from both parties have been talking about immigration reform for decades. I know, I'm 47, with little real change. What specifically would you do differently in your first year that hasn't already been tried? And how would you make sure it actually gets done?
yeah. So one of the things that I've proposed that is slightly different of a kind of route of going about things is that if we flip Congress. I think a lot of stuff has to involve flipping Congress or having a supermajority in Congress. If I'm elected, to be honest, we probably might have a supermajority.
Oh,
If
you're gonna bring the rest of the team with you? The rest of the shrimp
if
and the armadillos?
it'll be a whole what do they call it when they have a whole glass of jumbo shrimp all around it?
A
That's what
cocktail
I'm
of
bringing.
shrimp.
Yeah, it's a cocktail full of shrimp here. Uh, but if I get elected, it probably means that there's a supermajority. Now, my thought process is we got to plan for both, right? We got to plan if we don't have a supermajority. We have to plan for if we have a supermajority. If we don't have a supermajority, my thought process is we've got a lot of money that has been allocated to ICE. And I think that there is an avenue that we can negotiate moving a large amount of that money to proper immigration reform. That isn't just enforcement, that is craziness, that's, deporting people that are citizens, right? Taking that money that's already allocated and investing it into immigration judges to get people through. And that's kind of the big thing. we need to invest money in the existing process and really push it so that it doesn't take 10 years for people to come through the immigration system. A lot of people, the immigration system usually gets backed up. And that's why a lot of people don't have faith in our immigration system, is we have not invested enough in the infrastructure in it. And so people don't believe that there's an easy or proper way of getting over here and are worried about getting denied, which is fair. So what we really need to do is try and divert that money into proper immigration reform. And I think there's a way to sway even Republicans to move that money from ICE to immigration reform.
You know what, though, Alex? I got to tell you, the president before the current one tried that. He added a lot of immigration judges in 2024, and then someone came in 2025 and fired all of them. He's continuing to fire them.
I know.
So how do we, when you get into Congress, the same president is going to be there, right?
Yes.
How are you going to convince that person that it is of benefit to the United States to have more immigration judges when he has decided that it is not of benefit to the United States to have more immigration?
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword on his part at certain point, because Congress holds the purse strings.
Mm-hmm.
If we can leverage, we can say, look, you can have proper immigration reform, or we don't fund ICE in the same way. And we won't. I mean, I won't vote for that. But we're going to be in control of the purse strings. So we can say, look, it's this way, or it's not going to work out the way you want it to. We can't just, if we leverage moving the money over to actual immigration reform, and we do need to continue to have some level of money into immigration enforcement. But if we say this is what we need, and we want money for immigration processing and proper immigration reform, if he doesn't want any of it, no money anywhere, he doesn't, we take away money from ICE, and there's no money for immigration, the process, immigration is just going to become what it was under other administrations, where it was craziness. And he's going to get blamed for that. And if he wants to do that, I mean, that's going to be on him. We have to do what we need to do what we can with the powers of Congress to allocate money in the right way. And if Trump doesn't want to make the system work for everyone, then we really need to make it a hot seat for him. He did not let the immigration, he killed the bill for immigration reform in 2024. The ICE stuff now is craziness. Citizens getting deported, people getting killed. And his first presidency, all of the issues about separating families, that got a lot of people heated. All of those things are all part of his legacy. And this is his last 2 years. He can be known as the president that just continued to mess up immigration from beginning to end, had 2 tries at it and completely failed. And I think that's what we have to leverage is say, look, you ran on immigration twice. You killed everything that would make it work.
If you could ease up on using the KILL word.
Ah, yes. Sorry about that.
I'll let him do it one time.
No, but I think we do need to really pressure him. And I think, there's going to be more. I think he's going to be more focused on his legacy in his last 2 years in office, especially if he can't do much with a Democratic majority in what I think is going to happen, both the House and the Senate. He's got to decide how he wants to play his last 2 years. And if he wants to work okay with Democrats to make his legacy not end on a bad note, I think that's what we have to pressure.
Okay, so how would you propose that that immigration reform balance border security with compassion for people? What if you have a family that comes to you and they're worried about deportation, separation, and they have all of this legal uncertainty, but at the same time, Americans are hearing all the time border security, and you want strong enforcement, but at the same time you see people who are being unfairly targeted. How would you balance those 2 things?
Yeah, so I think there's 2 separate things here, right? There's border security and then there's immigration. A lot of times the people who are here, who end up here illegally or not, who usually it's people who overstay their visa. It's
Right.
usually not related to border security.
Right.
So I think there is a case of saying, let's have a secure border. Now, what that is specifically, it could be something basic. It doesn't have to be extravagant. I don't disagree with secure borders, but I think when you separate the 2, proper immigration and border security, you can have both. And I think if we really communicate well that we want strong borders, we want America to be safe, we don't want anyone just walking over, but we want to keep families together and we want to give people pathways to citizenship and ways to become a citizen in the right way. Those don't have to be mutually exclusive. They don't have to be. And we need to be able, on the Democratic side of things, to be able to articulate that to people is that strong border security, it has relation to immigration, but it's not the same issue. It's related. One's a security need, one's a people and process.
So you don't think that they should be under the same umbrella? Like immigration used to be under the Department of Justice. Now they're all lumped together under the Department of Homeland Security. So maybe immigration enforcement should go back to the Department of Justice and border security should be a national security issue.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. All right. And for anyone in the audience, if you have a question for Alex, you can hit that multi-guest option, or you can put your question in the chat and then I can ask him for you on your behalf. I will be your proxy. Alex, let's talk about climate.
Okay.
For decades, leaders have talked about climate change, and now they're talking about it's not real. Who knows? I think it's real, but they haven't delivered real results. What specific action should be taken in the next 2 to 4 years that people in your district would actually see and feel in their communities?
That's a great question. So, I mean, we're the sunshine state, right?
Mhm.
So we're powered by sun, whether or not we have solar panels or not. And I think this state should really invest more in renewable energy and solar. And let me tell you, the big hot button issue today that I've talked to both sides of the aisle and both are like really like charged up about are the AI data center related things.
Yes.
Where
Absolutely.
and we just had, I think it was 3 weeks ago, maybe no, it was less than 3 weeks ago. Florida was in a drought. We were only allowed to turn on sprinklers on Saturday and Sundays. And Saturday and Sundays, it depended on what house number you had.
Oh, we
You were
didn't hear
only
about
supposed to.
this.
Yes, yeah, it was a pretty big deal. Some people, it's hard sometimes to get those news about when to turn on your sprinkler doesn't usually overtake the war in Iran, right? So,
Right.
so the drought in the local area doesn't usually oversee that news story. But people are really worried here about water usage with AI data centers and electrical use of AI data centers.
Mhm.
And people don't want to pay extra money. And for some people who don't even believe that climate change is real, which they've been saying that for the past 20 years. We've seen the results in this state. But it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, those people see economic impacts.
Mhm.
And when they see that data centers are raising their electric bills, the question that comes to their mind is, how can we stop this from happening? How can we lower that cost? Great way to do that is limit AI data centers, which is one thing that's happening. Although this state just passed a really weird bill locally on the state level with regards to the AI data centers. With
Does that
regards
pertain to the
to,
regulation of them or?
yeah, they don't have to disclose details about the building related stuff for them for the first year. It's something strange like that where they don't have to
Ah.
disclose to the public certain details for the first year about something with regards to the AI data center. So that's weird in itself. But people don't want to supplement the bill for these data centers. And so if we for the people who don't believe in climate change, saying this will lower your bill, this will help the community not have a drought in the area. Although that's a little bit of a separate issue. I think we can bring people over to the renewable energy part of the conversation with the economic benefits of it. And I don't think enough people have hammered that home is that and there's a big libertarian group in this area of Florida. People don't want to be relying on the government. And solar energy and solar panels, having it on your own roof and being able to produce your own energy is a very libertarian thing in itself as well. And I think we can sell a lot of people on, solar energy, renewable energy not only lowers your bill in the long run, but it also pulls you away from reliance on the government in some ways. So I think for environmental issues, I would love to push some level of subsidies for renewable energy like we had previously, increasing it. I think a lot of it got cut with the big, beautiful bill, if I remember correctly, with
Yeah.
renewable energy. They took a whole bunch out of the solar energy and renewable energy subsidies, and that has slowed down the conversion over to renewable energies, especially in
Well,
districts like this.
one of the things that happened was so whatever has already been allocated, judges have ruled that these projects have to go forward. The Trump administration can't stop them. So what
Yeah,
he's doing is he's paying the companies involved in building these things, he's paying them money to walk away.
yeah,
So, and some of them are walking away, some of them are choosing to do that. But like you said, if there is a source of energy that can be used that would save people money, why not just do it? It's
yeah,
because the utility companies, the oil and gas companies, they provide heavily to these campaigns, to keeping these people in office. And without that money, people think, oh, I'm gonna lose. They've never tried to win an election like you're doing. They've never tried to do grassroots, right?
yeah.
They think they need millions and millions and millions of dollars to win. No, you need some money, but you don't need the bad money, right? You don't need the money that demands you push for legislation that benefits and favors big corporations. You don't need that. You know, but that's just my opinion. We're here to hear what you think, Alex.
Well, I agree with you. So it's a good opinion.
So, if elected, what is one climate action you would commit to delivering within your first term, besides the renewable energy project? I know Florida has. You've got all the good things, right? You've got the hurricanes, you've got the flooding, you've got tornadoes, you got all the things, and you got the Everglades. You got to protect the Everglades down there. You got
Mhm.
what else? What else do you got? You're dealing with the drought now.
We have the beaches, the
The
coastline for
beaches. That's
us
right.
is big too.
The eroding coastline. What's your one big proposal besides the renewable energy?
So I'll say this is I hate to commit to anything just because Congress may favor Democrats, but if we have Trump, I I could see him vetoing almost everything unless we have a supermajority. So I like to tell people this is what I would like to do and this is what I will push for. Because to be honest, it's going to be a very interesting, whoever gets elected, it's going to be a very interesting 2 years with Trump still in office. Um, although we'll see. I think we should impeach him day one, but I don't think that will get rid of him, sadly. Uh,
It won't
the
get rid of his administration, certainly.
No. So the one thing that I know that Floridians on both sides of the aisle really want is something to be done about the overdevelopment in Florida. A
Okay.
lot of the trees, a lot of the like Everglades, a lot of these places of natural beauty and wildlife are slowly turning into apartment complexes and cookie cutter housing neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a problem here. And I've heard from everyone that it's a problem. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle. What I would like to do in Congress is find some way that we could potentially either encourage or leverage existing developed places like abandoned malls or office complexes that are not being used or uh, strip malls or uh, storefronts that are just almost completely abandoned, not really used, and maybe even abandoned. And finding some way to encourage builders to buy those existing lands and redevelop on top of those instead of taking away the trees and the natural wildlife. And I would love to do some sort of, I hate to say subsidies because I think throwing money at every problem is not the solution to every problem. But we need to find some way to encourage builders to reuse land that's already been developed up to a certain point.
Okay.
And I think Floridians would say, yeah, we have this whole abandoned mall and we're doing nothing with it, but we're tearing down and draining a whole bunch of ponds and wildlife from the places next to these abandoned malls to build something else.
Right.
So I would love to do that both for the country, but it's very more specific to Florida, the overdevelopment. And, there was a law on Rick Scott helped kind of remove in 2011 that allowed there was a oversight committee about overdevelopment, and they could, give a stamp of approval or denial of the number of development projects in Florida. And that they got rid of it in 2011. And that's what really has caused the issue to spiral out of control. And I do think there's a small number of national level legislation that we can do that can help encourage some things on the local level on the building front.
Okay. So when you're out there talking to people, one of the things they're complaining about is the overdevelopment. What else are you
Yeah.
hearing from the people? Are they talking about, they can't be talking about affordability. Y'all got money in District 5.
Affordability is top of issue. I mean,
Really?
the top four issues, people don't bring up affordability as much, but they definitely agree. And they see the signs of things.
Like the gas
It's split.
prices and the cost
gas-
of rent and taxes and insurance, and now you don't have what is it, property taxes anymore in Florida or something?
We still have it, but they're trying to get rid of it.
Okay.
There's a statistic for kind of Jacksonville area, and it's actually really surprising that it's a large percentage. It's like, and I don't want to misquote it, but it's like 40 something, 30 to 40%, around that ballpark, of people are spending more than 30% of their income on rent. And that's a red blinking emergency issue when there's a large population of people in the district that, they can't afford the rent.
Right.
Affordability for rent is less than a third of your income. Most people say 30%. It's usually 30 to 33%.
Mm-hmm.
When a large amount of people can't afford it, that's a big affordability problem. And to be honest, Jacksonville has high rents, but not as high as some other places in Florida. And it's a little crazy because I've heard a lot of people who have moved from Miami or Orlando to Jacksonville for the lower prices, and they're still expensive. People can't afford them here. And so it's just a general affordability issue everywhere because people shouldn't be spending more than a third of their a large group of people should not be spending more than a third of their income on rent. So that's yeah.
So, okay, I watched a Senate hearing the other day. I think they were voting on some bill to help the blue land across the sea. And the Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, he said, we're solving the affordability crisis. We're making it easier for more homes to be built. Just look at Austin, Texas. I was like, let me look this up. Let me see if he's telling the truth. And he's right. The rents are coming down because more homes are being built, but not under Trump. It was under Biden. It was under Biden that it started. And the numbers were through 2024. So yeah, the rents were coming down because there were more homes, but that's not enough. You know, in some areas, there's an abundance of places to live and they're going uninhabited because people cannot afford to buy them, right? People can't
Yeah.
afford to buy them. They can't afford to rent them, but also they can't afford to insure them. They can't afford to pay the property taxes. Like in Ohio, property taxes are, I mean, it's insane, but that's not the only thing. It's the cost of groceries, it's gasoline prices, it's the cost of retail, like shoes and
Mhm.
clothes. At the congressional level, what do you think specifically the House of Representatives can do to encourage lower prices for consumers? I know you can't like go into the Gap and say, hey, put that on sale, but there's something that Congress can do. There is a lever that can be pulled at the federal level. What do you think it is?
So the biggest affordability issue in Florida that everyone gets hit with in multiple different ways in Florida is insurance. It's car insurance, it's property insurance, it's medical insurance, but that's a whole separate
Mm-hmm.
issue. And home insurance and property taxes. But insurance is a big aspect of affordability issues here. We have some of the highest car insurance prices in the country. And the reason is because not everyone's on car insurance. So when people get hit, the insurance companies have to subsidize more because less people are on it overall.
Right.
There's the property insurance is very high because our state is a magnet for hurricanes. So,
Well, what do you
although
know?
we we haven't had it too bad last year year-ish. I think
Yeah,
we got off pretty scot-free last year,
yeah.
which
Thank
was pretty
God.
good.
Yeah.
Yes, hopefully. Well, it didn't lower the insurance prices, so
No, it did.
I don't know where that money got saved
They said,
because
hey, you know what? You're already paying it, so
might as well pay more.
might
No
as well.
storms, no need for insurance, but we're still gonna raise the prices.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
but I do think there are some small levers that we can pull, especially on the national level, of insurance reform, just reform of insurance in general, of what it means to be able to pull the levers in certain areas, especially with no fault insurance. So I know that there's been times where people have gotten in a car accident or something happens to their house and it's a complete freak accident. Like
Mhm.
it could not be foreseen. Their house is in a flood zone and their house catches on fire because some faulty wiring or something happened or you know, people who have that happen, their insurance just skyrockets. And that shouldn't happen to people.
Right.
That we should have some level of national requirement of not allowing it to skyrocket like that. We should also prevent insurance companies from jumping up prices over a certain amount percentage each year. I think the percentage in 2021 to 2022 was massive compared to all of the other years because they were trying to catch up with some previous cost of living increases and but the jump was incredibly high. It was I think I remember mine jumping up like 22%.
Oh,
Insurance prices should not be able to jump up like
no.
over 20%. Um
That's crazy. Oof.
so we I think there's ways that we can prevent insurance companies from jumping prices exponentially, which will keep it's hard to get companies to lower prices, especially when everything else is also raising. So at least trying to keep insurance staying at a base level while we address other issues as well. I think that's something that we can really do on the national level.
Okay, another affordability thing is, you know, Well, if we make everything free, who's going to pay for it? And people will say, tax the billionaires. What do you think about that? What does that mean, tax the billionaires? Aren't they taxed? They're taxed, right?
Depends on it depends on the billionaire and depends on if they're using tax loopholes. So, and it depends on where their assets are and how they have it situated. Some, I think it came out that the top like 100 companies or something paid $0 in taxes or something. So, there's definitely ways for people who have money to hire people to get around the taxes using our tax loopholes. We need to close as many as possible. I think people need to pay their fair share. And I think some people who are rich do pay some level of taxes that they should be, but not enough. And there's a lot of people who do use the loopholes, because if I gave you $20 and you say, well, you can owe me $10 back, or if you say that you spent $5 on this other thing, I'll let you keep all $20. People will say that they spent the money even if they have the $20 and didn't spend it on anything. There's a separate issue where we've defunded the IRS, and the IRS is the agency that really makes sure that rich people who are supposed to be paying their taxes are actually paying their taxes and not skirting the rules as well. Mm-hmm. But if the top 100 companies are not paying a single dollar in taxes, then we have a system that does not hold both corporations and people accountable for paying the right share amount of money that we need to.
Okay. I like that response. Alex, I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Oh, I love rapid fire.
Okay.
It's good.
Yes or no? Should Florida expand Medicaid?
I'll say that we need Medicare for all. So
yes or no?
Yes. Yes. I thought my one sentence was rapid fire enough, but I'll say yes too.
Okay, yes or no? Should the minimum wage rise with inflation?
Yes.
Okay. Yes or no? Should dreamers have a pathway to citizenship?
Yes.
Okay. Yes or no? Should Congress ban members from trading individual stocks?
Yes.
Okay. Now this one is one word answers only.
Okay.
Jacksonville's biggest crisis right now. Wearing white after Labor Day?
That's more than one word.
That is.
So it's hard to say, but I think the easiest answer that I would say is Medicare.
Okay. One federal program you'd cut tomorrow.
ICE.
Okay, there you go. The word you'd use to describe Congress currently.
Ineffective.
Okay. The word you'd use to describe your district currently.
Rambunctious.
Rambunctious. The word you use to describe your leadership style. Also rambunctious. I'm kidding.
Could say that authentic is what I'd like to say.
Authentic. Okay, I like that. The word you'd use to describe the housing market.
Unaffordable.
Okay. Now this is a this or that. This or that. No
Okay.
explaining, Alex. No explaining.
Okay.
Well, unless you have to. Flood mitigation or highway expansion. Which should
For
come first?
Florida, flood.
Okay. Port jobs or port emissions cuts.
Say that again. It's
Port jobs or port emissions cuts. Which comes first? What do you prioritize?
so is that porting away jobs or
Well,
I'm confused on the
bringing
context
more
on that.
jobs, bringing more jobs to the ports, or do you
Okay.
prioritize cutting emissions?
I say ports. We have a big port here.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay. What do you prioritize? Rent caps or tax credits for builders?
Rent caps.
Rent caps. Okay. What's more important, public transit funding or road widening?
Public transit.
So, police funding or violence prevention funding?
Ooh. I'd say for here, it probably is the second, violence.
Okay. Charter school expansion or public school investment?
Public school investment, 100% on that one.
Let's see. Hmm. What should be the federal government's role in fixing Jacksonville's chronic flooding problem?
Hmm. That's difficult to answer, and I'll say that because it's
Think.
there's a lot of local level related
Mhm.
issues with regards to flooding and how we how we manage certain parts of the coast. And there's there's the intercoastal waterway, there's the St. Johns River, and the flooding is you.
Is it an infrastructure problem or is it a funding to clean up problem or
Yeah, so I will say that I'm not as versed with specifically the specific local level flooding issues
okay.
specific to Jacksonville wider. I know that the Jacksonville beach area has had some issues kind of when hurricane season has happened where water has flooded uh, pretty much the first level of a lot of the houses up on the coast. And that's just been I don't know if it's as much of an infrastructure issue as much of a just rising tide issue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the I'm less unsure about downtown, but most of the flooding issues seem to be closer related to the coastline
Okay.
and that and so I know that there's been a lot of talks about using natural barriers instead of non-natural barriers, like doing mangrove barriers to help prevent coastal flooding and coastal issues. Uh, that's kind of the biggest part of it, the flooding issues on the coast. And I know that, well, I shouldn't say that. I know there's been a big local movement to try and increase funding on the natural barriers, adding in mangroves as barriers for the coastlines. And I think people on both sides of the aisles are actually pretty receptive of it on the local level. So
Okay. So let's talk about education. In a world where nearly every job requires digital skills and cybersecurity awareness, what would it take to make sure students aren't learning these things on their own after graduation, but are actually job ready before they leave high school?
yeah, so I actually have a policy on my website or policy positions on my website with regards to this. I think that high school education is lacking in some areas to prepare people for real life. And the areas of that include civics, it includes home ec, which is like cooking, cleaning. I have a lot of friends who did not learn how to cook in school, and that's a
How do they
problem,
eat?
especially yes, and you can't eat out for dinner every night and
Yeah.
have things be affordable, sadly. Um, so those are the first two. Uh, Tech literacy, which I think can include not being scammed or in cybersecurity, along with learning how to use, basic technology, how to use a computer. And then the last one, which I think is really, really needed, it's probably a blinking red emergency light for most Americans, is financial literacy.
Right.
That is, I think that's the least talked about thing about from our public education system that really needs to be honed in. And it's crazy to me because we talk about the unaffordability of college and how much people take out with loans. And there are people who are 18 who sign for big loans for their education. And I think a lot of people don't fully understand what that means. And I think there are some predatory practices around it too. And I think one thing that we've really hurt both my generation and the current generation on is not providing the education to people about how credit cards work, what it means to take out big loans, how to budget in the right way. We have an affordability crisis, but we also have a huge debt bubble, that consumer debt bubble that I'm really worried about, that may pop at some point, that will impact a lot of people, even if they don't think they're impacted, because there's a lot of people who are getting by on credit cards and they have 22%. Actually, it's like 28% interest rates. They're out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because both Bernie Sanders and Trump have both said, let's cap credit card interest rates, and we haven't done it.
Haven't
That's a
done it.
whole it really makes me upset when both sides say let's do something and then it doesn't happen. That just it I feel like people need to hit the rubber hard just over and over again on it when everyone agrees on it. But there's a huge financial literacy issue, and we haven't provided that education for people in high school in a meaningful way. And I think that's helped contribute to where we are in a society with the consumer debt crisis. And I've seen that some of these credit card companies, some of these corporations, they lobby against certain financial literacy related efforts, because if they have someone that pays them back in interest on a credit card because they didn't realize what it means to have a credit card, they make money off of it. and I think they've also lobbied a lot of Congress people to not change interest rates and not to touch a lot of some of the regulations around credit and credit card stuff. And I do have to say, one of the things that I really loved that Biden did that I wish he really presented more was going after the credit card companies and these companies about junk fees, banks and credit card companies, because I think those actually do impact people, and people see those things who are really struggling and are right above the line between having no money and some money. And I just wish people knew more about that, because it definitely impacted a lot of people.
Okay, we have a question in the chat. They want to know, have you made your pick for governor yet?
Ooh, I have my pick. Um, I'm I'm a fan of Angie Nixon. I think she's a strong progressive, and she's lived in Florida, I think, her entire life. I think she represents Florida very well on the progressive side. And I think she's a breath of fresh air, and she's served as someone in Congress. I think there are other really good options. Well, sorry, that's for Senate. I'm sorry, I'm going down the wrong lane there. Um, Governor is Jolly, or so maybe I haven't picked for governor yet.
I don't think you have.
I'm. I mean, I think
I mean,
I
your
promoted
primary
Angie
is in
Nixon for a
August,
second.
right? You got some time.
Primaries in August. Yeah, I think for governor, I'm still figuring out some things with regards to governor. I think I'm still feeling out who I really want for governor. There are some candidates that are trying to pick up momentum that I do really like. But I need them to pick up more momentum before um throwing myself behind them. I really like. I think all the candidates are pretty decent. So
The commenter said that you should
um,
look into Rodney Glover.
Glover. Okay, I'll
Glover.
take a look into Glover.
So you're a progressive, right? And you like
Yes.
progressive candidates running for office. Recently, one of our Supreme Court justices said that progressivism is the what did he call it? The scourge of the United States, or the enemy of the United States, something to that regard. He said it's really bad for this country, and he likened progressives to the Mustache Man and Mussolini and Mao, and he said that they were against what this country is founded on, the principles of the Declaration of Independence. What is your opinion on that? How would you describe how progressivism is moving the country currently? I know it's moving slowly, but what would you say are the benefits of being a progressive and running a progressive campaign?
Yeah. So I mean, I think progressivism is really putting people first and making progress towards social issues and infrastructure and moving us towards a future that we want to be in. Now, there's different levels of progressivism, and I think the examples that were used are not great examples. I think they're better examples of authoritarianism, but
Yeah.
that's I think a lot of people have issues separating authoritarianism from certain uh, political ideologies, I'd say. And I'd say that the Declaration of Independence was based off of not having an authoritarian government. And progressivism isn't advocating for kings or dictators or Mussolini's. It's really to promote change in a positive way. And I think that with the conservative movement too, I think if you're comparing political ideologies, unless they're specifically advocating for authoritarianism, you know, I think that's usually where the big fallacies are. I mean, we're based off of separation of, separation of church and state, but also separation of powers
Right.
and division of powers and co-equal branches of government. And I think that's what has protected this country for a long time. I think we're seeing the cracks in some of our systems in keeping those things, the separations, separate. But I just fundamentally disagree. I think you could say that about any type of political ideology: socialism, communism, conservatism, capitalism. You could say they're all the scourges of the earth if you pick the right edge cases where someone has abused it, and usually those cases are when someone is authoritarian. I like using the example of, people like to use different examples, but, Russia was a democracy, and Germany, before it became Nazi Germany, was also a democracy. And a lot of places, a lot of places, it doesn't matter what political ideology. If it turns into a dictatorship or authoritarianism, that's usually when things get out of control.
Right. And it's interesting that he didn't have anything bad to say about capitalism that was built on American chattel slavery. So it's just another
Yeah.
one of those, you see a movement in politics, you see something happening, and it makes you feel uncomfortable, right? Because it's not the norm. It's something new, some newfangled thing. And perhaps he's too old to understand it. I don't know. There are older progressives. It's just he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. It doesn't make sense to him. And it's not conservatism, so it must be bad. It must be bad. But for a U.S. Supreme Court justice to say that about a particular movement of politics or people who are running on that political platform, I think that's dangerous, right? Because he's a political leader, for better or worse, or whatever you want to call the Supreme Court justices. They interpret the Constitution, and for them to say that one thing is dangerous, one thing that many people believe is fundamental or valuable to the United States, that's a big deal. And if you're a progressive candidate and you're out there running in a ruby red district where they love Clarence Thomas. Oh, did I say his name? Oh. They love Clarence Thomas and you're a progressive. How are you received in these pockets, these really red pockets?
Yeah, so man, I depends. I mean, the way that I've been going around has been pretty non-confrontational thus far. So a
Mhm.
lot of times I'm saying, oh, hi, I'm Alex. I'm running for Congress. And then they usually say, oh, Democrat or Republican. And I usually say, progressive Democrat or Democrat, depending on where I am and feeling out whether or not they're really ruby red constituent or maybe independent constituent. Usually, if I say Democrat and they're a ruby red, they're like, "Oh, I wish you the best, not for me," and then they walk off. And I'm like, "No, what? If that's how it is, that's okay." And I appreciate them not getting overly confrontational. Some in a ruby red, you can't win everyone. You can be palatable for some people, and I think that's in in the country that we're in right now, where the divisiveness is so high. Sometimes the best thing is just to be palatable enough for someone to listen to maybe a couple of your points, and they may just write it off or say, "No, what? But if they're willing to at least listen, I
Mhm.
think that's a sign. And most people actually are willing to listen. And I've had conversations with people. The biggest one where disagreements go usually too far is immigration. People have some really strong opinions about immigration in a way that I'm like, has this even affected you
Right.
at any level? And this constituent is saying these people have come across, and I'm like, how has this affected you?
Well, but that happens when the propaganda is pretty loud in their ears. You know, it's like listening to their own
Yes,
heartbeat. All of the political commercials, all the ads are these people are coming in, they're stealing your jobs, they're taking your Medicaid.
you know,
When you listen to that over and over and over again, you start to believe it.
yeah, and the way I can have conversations with them, and I think I've been able to like crack at the glass
They
wall a
have to
little
be
bit that they're.
deprogrammed. Yeah.
And so, if they say, oh, they're stealing jobs, right now, great rebuttal is, oh, well, are immigrants taking more jobs or is AI taking more jobs? And then they think about it for a second. They say, maybe AI might be a bigger problem than this other problem that I think is a big problem. It diverts them on a different avenue. And I'm about AI regulation. So if they're like, well, AI is a bigger issue, maybe he has something to say about this. Maybe there's something about this candidate. And it's not about, and I like really framing it like this. There's a lot of issues that the right side see, and they're led to believe that these issues are connected to certain things, maybe in the wrong way.
Correct.
So a great example was I I was getting petitions, and usually I eye and see who might sign and who might not sign. And I think I picked the wrong person because I picked someone with a NASA shirt, and I said, oh, they might be liberal, they might sign for me. Picked the wrong person, let me tell
Because they're
you.
wearing a NASA shirt.
And they were going off on me about immigration, saying that most people come over here illegally or trying to do some bad stuff. And he said some
Oh,
stuff that I felt was a little on the racist side. But he said, and this is the thing: there's always a grain of truth, and there's always there's a reasonable level of something that they've attached the rest of everything else onto. And one of the things that he was getting really upset with was the H-1B visas, I'm pretty sure, the ones where
yeah.
people
Yeah, the business visitor. Yeah.
and I don't disagree on that, where sometimes some companies misuse
Yeah,
those
they do.
things
And they
and
exploit the workers too.
they exploit them. Then the next day, after I had that conversation, 30,000 people from Oracle got laid off. And I said, okay, this is interesting. 2 days later, I see that Oracle has just filed for 3,000 H-1B visas
Look at
or
that.
applied for it. And so, this person, right, Ruby Red constituent,
Mhm.
is yelling about immigration to me and saying that I don't know what I know and all this other stuff. But he, we had a little bit of a conversation, and I really hope he comes around and listens to me in the future and sees that I'm not against, all of the things that he said. Because I don't disagree with him with the H-1B visas being abused. And so
But that could also
in
tie into immigration reform, right?
it does. And so I think it really is about going and appealing to those things that are cross-cutting, even if you don't agree on those issues. But there are things that are not getting addressed, that are getting abused like that. And that's why people in Ruby Red, Florida feel Ruby Red. These are issues that are happening. They're not getting addressed. And then they're told a story that for some reason blends correctly with their reality of it. And, you know, there's a whole propaganda piece in Fox News and a whole bunch of other stuff around it. But for me, I need to be able to have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be able to listen to them about saying those things, because at the end of the day, there is some level of truth to it. And there is some basis of truth. Whether or not the whole rest of the conversation is based off of truth is a whole separate issue. But people usually are mad for a reason. And
They're mad because they're
there's
told to be upset. They're told to be
there
upset. They're told that their livelihood is
yes.
being threatened. If you come to me and you tell me
Mhm.
that my livelihood is being threatened, and then you point to the thing that's threatening my livelihood, I'm going to go
Mhm.
after it. That's what I'm
Yeah.
going to do. I'm not even going to stop to think, hey, maybe I should rationalize. Maybe I should analyze this. Maybe I should even, is this true or not? A lot of people are just going to go, they're going to go after it. Hey,
Yeah.
you're a person in authority. You told me that this thing is threatening my livelihood. I'm going to go after it. If it's just some
Mhm.
dude on the street saying, hey, immigrants are taking your jobs, eh. But if it's a president or a senator
Mhm.
or a governor saying it, oh, it must be true. Why would they lie to me? They wouldn't lie to me. They wouldn't do that, would they? No, they wouldn't lie to me. I pay taxes. I voted for them. They wouldn't lie to me. You don't stop to
Yeah.
rationalize. You don't stop to think because you trust the people who are giving you the information. You trust them. But I think in 2026, a lot more people are starting to put their love for these politicians aside and they're starting to really dig into the truth. What is the truth? And when you're out there on the trail, it
Mhm.
shouldn't be your job, but it is kind of your job to do some deprogramming, some demystifying, you know, I know you feel that way, but here's the truth. I know you feel that way about gas prices, but here's the truth of why they're going up. And yes, it's okay to
Mhm.
blame the person who started the war, and the war is the reason the gas prices are going up. It's
Mhm.
okay. You feel that way about immigration, but let me tell you the real reason why this is happening. Let me tell you the real reason why insurance rates are going up. Let me tell you the I mean, it just becomes your job, and that's how you win over
Yeah.
people, is by deprogramming them. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, especially for someone. I don't know if this is your first time running for office. It's a lot of work for someone to have to run for office and change minds at the same time. But that's what in 2026, what a lot of candidates are having to do because people are so stuck in this misinformation and disinformation that it leaves them voting for the same harmful policies and politicians that keep getting us into trouble. And that's, I'm just trying to explain to you, this is but this is the job that
Yeah.
this is what you're having to do, right?
Yes. And
Especially
I
in the
think,
district that you're running in.
yeah, and I think the big thing for me is this is a huge district. There's over 800,000, eight
Yeah,
hundred fifty
that's a
thousand
lot
people.
of people.
I know I can't have a full on conversation with everyone. And I know that there's going to be some cases where I run into some people and I can do the full, explaining everything. I think for me, the biggest thing is to just take a little hammer and put a little crack in what they're thinking is in the kind of propaganda or what they've been hearing, and have them question what they truly believe.
Right.
Because yeah, we can talk about people taking jobs, and there is a problem with that. But taking a little hammer and cracking that image and saying, is it really people getting laid off today because of immigrants, or is it AI? Is it corporations merging and monopolies?
And who's
How
giving the
many?
people the jobs that you're saying
Mhm.
are being taken? Why not
How many?
blame the employers? Why blame the people who want a job?
Yeah, I mean, I think a great example is I work in the game industry, right?
Mhm.
They just laid off like thousands of people from, I think it was Epic. Why did all of them get laid off? You know, some people could point to financials. There's a little bit of that, but that's the bigger, the video game industry is the highest grossing industry, entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Some of these companies do not have to lay off thousands of employees to have a good profit margin.
Mhm.
The big issue is how they invest their money, where they're putting it to, and what projects they're investing in. And I mean, a lot of these companies, it's corporate greed. I mean, it's to make that number go up. A lot of these companies, they lay off thousands of people when they don't have a game out to release, even though they could put people towards more investment in some of the other like software development in for a different game on the off cycle. So, but like Oracle's another example. They said that they laid off 30,000 people. They specifically said that they laid them off to build AI data centers, have the money to build that. I mean, that's 30,000 jobs cut in a day
All
because of
while
AI.
giving their
And they
CEO a
point to
raise.
it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But they gave their CEO a fat raise, so
Yeah.
but that's your job, man. You're out there running. That's your job. You gotta put a lot of, you gotta bring a big chisel and hammer. A big one.
Yes.
So, okay, now that we've run out of time, just please tell the people where they can find you online and how they can support your campaign.
Yes. So you
Oh, and
can
remind
find
them
me.
about the petitions. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. So alexhazen.com, you can go there. I'm the only candidate in my race that has a lot of my positions on my website in a detailed format. So if you're curious about what I stand for, what specific issues and where I position myself on them, check out my website, alexhazen.com/issues. I'm currently going for petitioning to get onto the ballot. If you want to help me and you're in Florida, feel free to go to alexhazen.com/vote and you can print out a petition, you can mail it to our P.O. box, and it will help us count to get on the ballot. And if you're really interested in our campaign, we would always appreciate any level of donation, whether it's $5 to $25. We're a grassroots movement. We don't take corporate money. We don't take APAC money. We don't take any money from kind of anyone who isn't just a constituent. So that's what we've only been accepting so far. That's the plan. And so if you are interested in helping a grassroots campaign for a young candidate who is tired of the status quo, feel free to donate to us. And I think that's pretty much it. I am Alex Hazen for Congress on all social media platforms, except X. Not on X. I don't think I'm on Blue Sky yet.
Hey,
We'll
they
see
can
if I
follow
get on
you
Blue
here
Sky.
on TikTok. Make sure you all follow Alex on TikTok. And again, if you are in Florida, he says that you can print out the petition, sign it, mail it to the P.O. box, and he will deliver your signature with 50 million others.
I wish 50 million others.
But Alex, if you could leave voters voters with just one thing to remember you by, what would it be? What is something they could look at Alex Hazen and go, yeah, that's Alex Hazen?
Yeah, so I ran because I didn't see the change that I wanted to see. And so if there's anything to remember or think about me by is I didn't see the representation that looked like me, that talked about the issues that I cared about in the way that I wanted it to. And it's never too late to step up, to involve yourself, and to be a champion of the change that you want to see. And I would hope that people think of me as a champion of people who want change and to be that change.
All right, Alex, thank you so much for being here. We will be here again, people in the audience. We will be here again on Tuesday, April 21st, 2026, with two candidates, one from the state of Georgia, another from the state of Pennsylvania. Cynthia Johnson at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. She is running for the Georgia State House of Representatives out of District 148. And then Brad Chambers at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He is running for Pennsylvania House seat, District 41. So, two candidates, state candidates, next Tuesday, April 21st, 2026, 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope you will join us. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to do what I do, what is it that I do? I moderate these town halls. Please send us a DM. We're still looking for more hands to be in the pot. DM us if you're interested in becoming a moderator, if you want to help out in any other way. We also have a Discord. You can join our Discord. Alex, you can join our Discord and shoot the breeze with us about politics and campaigns and country-wide stuff. Our link is in the bio, yes. Join the Discord. The link is in the bio. Oh gosh, it's late and I haven't eaten dinner. Yeah, that's my excuse. But join us, our Discord. Also, again, send us a DM if you're interested in helping out. Alex, we thank you so much for being here. We wish you the best of luck with getting your signatures and getting your name on the ballot. Your primary is in August. What's the deadline for the signatures? When do you have to do that?
So I'm telling people if they want to send it to me, try and send it for May 5th. The deadline's a little bit after that, but we have to get it in, and if they send it in, we may have to send it back out. So try and get them in by May 5th. The deadline's a couple days later than that.
Okay, so we're looking at early May for those signatures to be in. Alex, we wish you the best of luck. We thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate you coming and being open about your platform and sharing your ideas. We appreciate it so very much. My name is Ayana Fakir, and this is OVC, Our Vote Counts, a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity like Alex, and ensure every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we are building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. We thank you for joining us. Again, remember, your vote is your power. Everyone, have a good evening. Bye. We'll see you here on Tuesday. Good night. Thank you, Alex.
Thank
Bye.
you.